two things at the same time.
Welcome back to another episode of Elevator Dialogue here on the Uncle Junior Network. I am the Uncle Junior, and with me today on the panel is the man that always brings the smoke and the knowledge, the only mindset coach you will ever need, Mr. Dwayne Dwyer, Mr. Michigan himself, the poor man's Dr. Phil, Mr. Rolling Down the Street, the most famous artist to ever come out of Canada, Mr. Antoine Christopher, the man with not one book, not two books, but a third book, a fourth book, a fifth book, a sixth book, Mr. Buy My Book, Mr. Victor Viziant, the founder and author of the Mindset, the Mind Heart for Diversity, the doctors in the house, Mr. Dr. Thomas R. Easley, the angry guy, and the angry guy, aka Mr. Across the Table with Christopher McClellan. How y'all doing today, gentlemen?
I'm blessed, man. How about you?
I'm doing well, man.
That's a hell of
I
an
am
intro.
doing well.
I'm expecting the intro after all that.
Okay, I'm back.
Hey, you just got thrown under the bus while you were gone too, man.
You did.
Hey, the angry man. That's what he put down there. So that's I just rolling with it. You know what I'm saying?
No, man, because see, people seem to think that when I'm really, really passionate about something, or when I'm really, really direct with them, and I say what it is straight to the point, I'm angry. So fuck it. I'll be mad.
Hey, do you, brother? You ain't gonna get no pushback from me. Not today. Antoine, you muted, but I know you saying something over there.
I think he was showing you his orange slice.
You showing your orange
these
slice?
nuts right here, these Brazilian nuts. These are the biggest, baddest nuts ever.
Jesus, Howard.
That's how we starting the show today. So, hey, let's do it then. Hey, how's everybody energy level right now?
Pretty good, man.
Since we talking about it.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I like it, man. Hey, welcome to the show, gentlemen. I really
say
appreciate
something
it.
before you get started?
Let's do it.
Hey, man, I just honestly, man, I really want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of this. Like on the strength, like on some me and you type stuff, man. Because ever since I've been a part of this network, and ever since Coach has allowed me to be a part of his network, a lot of things in my life has changed for the better, and my life is starting to get really, really easy and really, really cool. You understand what I'm saying? And it all started from Coach calling me every Saturday to me and you having a conversation on how to edit videos on Canva to here and now. So thank you.
I have that effect on people.
Oh man.
Antoine, I'm not going down this rabbit hole with you on this fine Wednesday evening. I'm not doing it. And you can't make me. No.
Antoine ain't got no code, man. Just
I wasn't part of that conversation. I'm just saying.
It wasn't about you.
Sorry. Jeez.
Is Uncle froze?
Yep.
Oh man. He couldn't even get his flowers, man. Like you tried to get that man his flowers and he died on the site, you know.
He was crying.
We lost the producer. Oh man, he tried to get that man some half-fed flowers.
Because Antoine out here showing his Brazilian nuts. That's what it was.
It's a good thing he's the producer because he can come back. You know what I'm saying? Make up for it.
But seriously, man, like I've had the types of conversations that you guys have had with me, with other people. And I can see what it's like when somebody talks to another person, not trying to be better than them, but understanding that, hey, I see something in you. You need to go light that up. Get comfortable in it. You understand what I'm saying? We really don't have conversations like that as men amongst each other. You understand what I'm saying? So even with me and you, Vic, we've had conversations and we've talked. You understand? He inspired a move in me. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we need more of that, man. For real, we need more of that.
Hey, this is why
I just needed to get that off of my chest.
Oh man, it's dope though because, like, I think the whole the best thing about the platform is that you can be in the audience or you can be on the show. You can be on the panel or you can be in the audience. At any given point, all of us are in the audience, you know. sometimes like there's nobody up here I hadn't learned anything from. So like I'm in your audience too. You know what I'm saying? So it's it's all love. And this way it's supposed to be in general because you know, like in some of the conversations I had with you guys individually, like I feel like if you're in your 40s and you can't teach anybody anything, what have you been doing? Like really, what have you been doing? You know, and I think the things that you learn how to teach, you have to be willing to take risks, chances, and you know, and even then, you got to do the same thing to teach. You still got to take a risk of being rejected. You got to take a chance, you know, at it working in your favor or not working in your favor, and then aligning that with your purpose and you know what I'm saying, to hopefully grow that into your passion, you know, however those words come to you and when they get synchronized, you know what I'm saying, they should add momentum, give you more clarity and give you more resolve, and then other people's criticism don't even hit the same anymore, you know what I'm saying, especially when you produce and complete something. So like some of my own philosophies that have lined us up to this point, you know, like the code of accountable masculinity, the theory, and how I've been growing it and maturing it and trying to come up with something that's very concise that people can kind of like lean on. I get a chance to hash that out every week when I come up here. You know what I'm saying? So I learn from the conversation, from the audience, from the people that give me feedback on my regular page. It elevated dialogue is momentum if you are in a healthy enough space to have objective conversation and you know and respectful feedback on behalf of a greater understanding. And it is supposed to produce results like the words that Chris just gave us. You know what I'm saying about his experience up here. This is the original inception of the idea and the intent, and it happened in two different locations. And then you know we're already working on the second year for this. So you know I'm excited about it. So this gives me a weekly commitment that I get to structure my life around too. You know what I'm saying? Because it's important. And everybody in life should have something that's so important that everything else has to get around it so it can protect its access to it and so they can grow it themselves. That's my take on what elevated dialogue is supposed to do.
Hey, I don't know where we at, but what I miss?
Good internet.
It just dropped. I lost everything. The computer and everything was running. I just dropped the internet. So
Did you hear anything that I said?
I didn't hear nothing you said.
Oh yeah, I told you half dead roses. You know what I'm saying? Like yo,
No,
gave,
I'm gonna go back and look at it. I'm gonna go back and look at it. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
Got it. But I am mad that I missed it. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But
hey man.
however, hey, the internet went down. We back up. You guys kept rocking with it, so I appreciate that. Thank you everybody who's watching out there at home. If you're watching on replay, thank you as well. Soldiers, military folks, I appreciate you for joining in. Appreciate you for your service, everything that you do. To the chat, appreciate you being here tonight. We understand that you, along with the panel, you all could all be somewhere else. You know what I mean? Taking care of yourself, being with your family, doing different things like that. But we all decided to chose and made a choice to be here tonight. And we hope that, you know, with our conversation, someone can take something from it and help um, build themselves up or just even learn something that they can add to their life and just become a better person overall, or either help them in a situation or something like that. I understand the value of teamwork. I understand the value of a wolf pack. I understand that no single person alone has all the answers. There are 7 different gentlemen up here tonight with 7 different perspectives, 7 different points of views, and we all have our experiences, and collectively we think that our conversation or our dialogue can help can help you with something that you may be going through in your life. So with that being said, gentlemen, the show is getting started. I'm excited to be here. I know I checked on everybody's energy level and stuff like that, man, but I know we went down, but everybody's still good over here. Yeah. I like it, man. So that's what we're gonna do. Tonight what we do, we talking about we're talking about energy and vitality and the importance of positive energy. So first thing we're going to do is we're just going to start off with what do men's energy and vitality look like to you? So feel free for someone to jump out here and let the audience know what this means to you. This will kind of set the baseline for the rest of the conversation going forward.
Men's energy and vitality. It looks like, just a healthy lifestyle overall. It provides you with access to new opportunities to, showcase your talents in some cases, make life altering moves. I think it shows you a degree of flexibility. I think it has to have a level of flexibility. When you don't have a healthy lifestyle, you don't have a lot of options. So I think that financial freedom has to be part of that. I think that schedule flexibility, work to life, balance, family balance, and accessibility. I think a good healthy mix. I think it's just all generally about being balanced for your optimal mental health. I would say be gentle with my mental. That's why I do things that, I'm saying, is gentle with my mental on most, on most of the basis that I operate on. That way I can respond, to a high stakes situation with a certain level of clarity, because I'm always, waiting for something to take place, because generally speaking, men are always thinking about the intangible situations that we can't control, and the things that we can't control, we want to make sure we have enough resources, in between us and the problem. So I think having a healthy mindset, or a healthy a life of vitality, provides you with extra thinking space from a healthier spot, because you can start solving problems a lot cleaner too. Something that definitely enhances your problem solving abilities.
Energy. What does it look like? Men's energy and vitality.
Energy. I think the energy, man. Like, you don't even necessarily need to be financially doing well, right? It's just that you're on your purpose, and your things are really just clicking. One project is coming after another. You have a good support system. You got the right friends around you. You got enough to buy a beer and enjoy it, and you're just progressing every day, right? You got your little setbacks here and there. That's normal. That's called life. But it's just that the energy is so high. You can't wait to get up. You can't wait to go to the gym. You can't wait to explode, right? You can't wait to meet the right one. You can't wait to work. It's like you just can't. Everything is just clicking, and that builds a healthy lifestyle. But the enjoyment of it, the energy of it, you're up here, right? Nothing could really drag you down. And then when it drags you down, you have a way to flip it easily. Yeah, I think you have solutions in that.
I think that men's energy and vitality, if I base level it, it's the ability to get things done, even when things aren't clicking on all cylinders.
Yep.
You have to go. You have to move. You have to produce. You have to. Everybody can have a good month or two where everything is just flowing and everything is going right and they are building so much momentum. But what happens on week 3 and week 4 when you need to build that consistency and you get hit with a roadblock? What do? That's the man's energy and that's the man's vitality, to be able to push through that and still get it done.
Mm-hmm.
You have to live life like it's a movie trailer, the same way that Chris finished up that thought right there. It's got to be epic. You know what I'm saying? You got to go do something great so you can capitalize on life itself, man. Like,
and it's gonna scare the shit out of you.
Yeah,
it is going to terrify you because
like, if
you
you
ain't
don't
never
challenge
seen it
yourself,
before. Right, because you ain't never seen it before, and
Mhm.
you are really trying to get to that place that you ain't never seen before. So you don't know what's about to happen. You not afraid of the outcome. You afraid of what's gonna happen in the meantime. That's what I believe the fear of the unknown is. You're not afraid of the goal. The goal is what you want. You just terrified of what it's gonna take to get there and all of the things that you might have to lose to do it.
Yeah, yeah. Like nobody accomplishes anything successful sitting down in most cases. You know what I'm saying? Like in a figurative, sense. Like sitting and standing gets things done at the right time. What moving your feet, moving forward. You know, not getting discouraged or even accepting discouragement and then fighting your way back out of it because you already set a bar, for yourself. And nobody else can put greater expectations on you than you can put on yourself. It's when you start accepting some of the simple things in life, of just being true, is that the most simple thing that I operate off of. Yeah, when I say all things are true, is that you can't please everybody. And if you can't please everybody, you inherently understand that you're not perfect. So if you're not perfect and you can't please everybody, that means you don't need everybody's approval. So you speak when you're spoken to, and if you keep your path in life that simple and work with people that pour into your own cup, and people that become, an investment in your health and your vitality, they give you the gift of life because they give you something to, connect with every time. When you got somebody that uh, reflects the motivation that you have, just like, like even man, even this panel, like Uncle Junior and I were on the phone in 2021. I think it was June, and I had just went live probably like a month prior, and I said I wanted to put together a platform that mentors men. And then so I'm talking to him, and it's like he telling me the same thing. He had been thinking about it for quite some time too. Don't remember the exact length of time. And then it went from two separate ideas that we were keeping to ourselves, but not, what I'm saying, uh, very forthcoming about it until it made sense because we spoke on it when we were spoken to about it. And here we are. It went from, my first interaction with Antoine back in November of 21 to where we are right now. Now we got, Chris, Roland, Coach, what I'm saying, Dr. Easley, who been here from the inception when it was just raw video, even though he can't make it all the time for whatever, situation. I always say men have code. And so it's proven the concept every single step that we go through. So it validates and invalidates um, positive narratives that are not getting elevated in the right conversation, and it invalidates narratives of people that had whatever opinion they had before they saw it because it's been documented. You know what I'm saying? You can go find it on YouTube. It's a repository of it. You can't make up what we, what I'm saying, created with each other because we listen, what I'm saying, to what's being spoken, compare it with our own experiences, and realize that everybody's not fortunate enough to be able to solve their own problems without any guidance. So mentorship is key. And the military experience that I've had is getting culminated, what I'm saying, right here, post, what I'm saying, service with the group of men that's up here, because even the men that didn't join still benefit from it. And we get reinforced into relevance by how they respond to what we communicate to in the organization and the true intent of keeping it focused. So, man, like all of that gives me the energy I need to show up here every week.
Do you know what you just described?
What's up?
You just described a group of men who wanted to work together to do something and got it to where it is and brought some people along the way that were supposed to be here and that actually represented the group right. That's what men's energy and vitality looks like. when you got a group of men that's trying to build something and it's actually worth something, and they bring somebody up that actually thinks that, you know what I'm saying, that they think that they can help or that they can implement something into that guy's head so that way he can do the same thing that we're doing so that way we can grow this thing. That's what true men's energy and vitality looks like, because everybody wants to teach somebody something. Everybody. And everybody wants to bring somebody up that says, hey, you wildin', let me go ahead and show you a few things that you didn't learn real quick. That's what it looks like. All right, I'm gonna shut up. I'm talking too much.
Oh no, it's something that you just said though, Chris, that brings out the idea that I have about energy. So when I think about energy, I think about it something that I can feel, right? You know, so I like how you said we brought people along with us. That means that they were probably attracted to what we were doing, right? And that could be positive or negative, you know. But I look at men's energy like it's something that, like, even when you don't know what it is, like I can imagine if any one of us on this panel walked into a room and we were mad, that when we walked in the room, someone would feel it. Like I remember when I met Vic, you know, it's cool to meet, you know, homeboy, you know, from Birmingham, but his energy was, you know, like, hey, nice to meet you, you know, but at the same time, I'm like, his brother got an edge. I don't mess with people. I'm like, not gonna mess with this brother. Okay, cool, you know. But as we clicked, it was like, oh dang, like you from the ham too. Oh, okay, here we go. So I look at it like energy to me, a man's energy or men's energy is something that can be attractive, or it's something that can detract. Is that the right word? You know, like it can keep people away. Yeah. Okay, that's okay. Okay,
you're right. You're right.
Repel.
That was a good
repel. That's it. Repel. Yeah. What's up, bro?
Right,
Yo, that was a good night because like we didn't even have no cameras on, but that was like it was like an impromptu comedy session. You know what I'm saying? Because I think I ran my mouth for about, you know what I'm saying, like an hour or so, you know, and it was you know, it was a perfect mix of what the Unkle Junior Network, you know what I'm saying, was supposed to be, what Unkle Junior is, because, you know, we were talking about it, you know what I'm saying, to his sons, and, you know, to his son and his friend, and, you know, he getting a chance to be around some older guys and, you know, hear some experienced men, you know, communicate with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that becomes invaluable because, like, it's a lot of people that just don't have the same type of family structure, you know, in general, or they don't have a network that they can access in a way that revitalizes them, you know. So being able to highlight that is very key, because we've been on social media for 10 years. We're supposed to definitely been able to amass a better conversation than what social media has enabled, you know, to be more popular. So we have to do things like this to differentiate ourselves from, you know, everybody else's conversation, because there are other people that want this type of conversation to be involved in it. But when you get, you know, like the students that disturb the classes, it makes it harder for everybody to participate consistently, you know. So being able to say, hey, you know what, let's take a chance and do this, brings back the same point, you know what I'm saying, that everybody else is reflecting. The energy itself makes you tap into a positive experience, you know, about it. And now you know it's worth it. It's just what it is.
You said something though, Doc. You said something though, Doc. You said it actually it attracts the people that are supposed to be there, but it also repels the people that it doesn't. And the reason that I believe that it repels the people that it doesn't is because the people that understand that you got invited to something and you got invited into something big, they understand the responsibility of not misrepresenting the network. Vic actually said that earlier. It puts a level of responsibility on the man. Hey, I can't mess this up because this group of men invited me in because they see something in me. I gotta hold myself up to that at bare minimum, so I don't misrepresent them, because they brought me in, which means they saw something in me and they're trying to pull it out. So I gotta act accordingly. I think that's a big thing that's missing. The level of responsibility and the understanding of the responsibility of representing the network, right? You understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. But
So
it's
I'm glad
some
you brought that
it's
up.
really powerful. I love what you just said though, because you're talking to me. What I'm taking from that, okay, is accountability. Like being
Absolutely.
accountable to, like I'm accountable to you, so I bring as best I can positive or good energy or whatever in there. But
And not
that's
only
but
that,
that
I'm
vitality.
accountable to me because
Mhm.
they brought me in. So I gotta act right.
Mm.
You understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I understand what you're saying. Hmm.
So
And then, but
I said I was gonna mute my mic. All right, I'm done.
no, you're good. I appreciate everything you're saying, but you also talking about a desire too, right? It's because of what happened, I have a desire to do something. That makes me think about the vitality piece with Vic, and that's what I already talked about. I just want to just echo. I think it was Antoine who said it. I want to do something. It's like when I'm vital, I want to get active. It's like I think it was one of y'all who said it. Like wake up, ready to go, and it's like that's how. It's almost like that's how I kind of gauge my energy throughout the day, but in particular in the morning. It's like if I can start the morning off, on 10 or on 100, usually the rest of the day, unless I like what you brought up, Chris, hit a wall or something happen, it usually stays there. It'll usually stay there. It won't go too far from like 10. But if I start like, kind of like, it's like I have to work extra just to get to 5. Like, and then if I feel that way, people around me may feel it, because I'm normally a guy who like people like, oh yeah, we like when Thomas is around. So if I'm like, what's up? Then I can see people, oh, what's wrong with you or what's happening. So I just wanted just to echo that, like what you said about the vital. Like, yeah, I agree. I want to do something, get busy.
I'm gonna jump in here where I can. And what you guys are explaining is because you have positive energy, you have negative energy, you also have magnetic energy. And when one has magnetic energy, that's when you repel or because we've all been around people who just bring the whole mood down, bring everything down. And sometimes it's necessary to get away from those people, but other times you gotta be because we are brothers, and can be one of us. We have to have that staying power and that energy to say, hey, I'm identifying that my brother has an issue. Something is wrong because he's acting different. Like you said, Thomas, they like, what's wrong with you? You on the 5. You're usually on the 10. See, and something we try to pump ourselves up instead of sometimes you have to get something or someone that's already here. Since it's energy and it's energetic and it's a power source, we have to receive a power source that elevates us. And we have to be a power source that elevates us, because when we're not, if you're not elevating, you're decreasing. And so when you're decreasing, you bring everything else around you. Oh, it's Monday again. Oh, I gotta go to work. And you tell it, words have power. And when you telling yourself these things, you're not thinking it, but you telling yourself you're gonna have a bad day, and you're gonna have a bad day. I think Vic said something about what's true is true, or all things true are true, or whatever he said, but that's the gist of it. And that's a fact, because when you speak those things and constantly tell yourself it's negative, 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 that's the energy you're going to have. That's the energy you're going to pass off. And other people that don't want it, going to start to get away from you.
All things are true, because like if the power of words are really, like what reflect your life at some point. The words you use, they pair with your outcomes. So you really just casting spells if you're using the wrong language.
Wait, just real quick. Just what you just said. Wait a minute. I'm looking at Chris' face too, because I'm thinking, Vic, you just took a step not back like negative. You took a step back into another realm, because of what you just said about words, then that makes it words feed energy. Energy feeds vitality.
Yep.
Okay. I just wanted to see if
Yeah.
I'm reading what you're saying.
Yeah, you're absolutely reading it the right way.
Okay, so I got it too.
Yeah.
Right.
So it can be unpacked from different ways. Like when we say art imitates life, like your life work comes out in your art. Like you can't, like if gangster rap was filmed in cornfields, there'd be a different conversation. You understand what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
it came from inner city, perspective. So you're not going to expect to get a whole lot of people interested in country music. You know what I'm saying? If it's about fishing and hay baling, because geography determines interest, and you know what I'm saying, in perspective. So if you can look at that objectively, you got a better chance at finding the right audience, the right tribe, the right people that fit the words that you understand, and so you start casting better spells. You know what I'm saying? You could pair that well with what you already understand. You got to be rooted into some higher, different understanding, because you got to have something to submit to. You know what I'm saying? Like it can't be it can't be just your own understanding. There's plenty of religious texts in multiple cultures that say the same thing. It's not just the Bible. It's not just the Quran. It's just it comes from everywhere. But like if you open and receptive and coachable to taking in the positive experience, you're going to speak the positive words that lead you to the experience. Nobody speaks negatively about going on vacation. It's something positive to look forward to. So you do things to make it become a positive experience. You know what I'm saying? To escape the things that you can't control, and the things that you might be getting overwhelmed by that you still inherently responsible for. Not just the things you can cut off, the things that you're still responsible for. You can't even appreciate the problems you have until you can step away or have your access to those same problems challenged. Because nobody wants to switch issues. Chris been through something completely different than everybody else up here. All of us have had an experience that I wouldn't trade with anybody else because I don't want your problems. I'm glad I got over mine. You know what I'm saying? So, like, uh, the energy that you get around that allows you to be vulnerable enough to have that conversation is what really proves, I guess, how healed you are. What really validates the periods of solitude that you had to have in order to be able to have the words to have this conversation. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to be able to appreciate your journey and your struggle, the scars. You can't just, you know what I'm saying, just wait for somebody else to do it for you. It's not as rewarding when you come from the bottom of something, whatever your bottom is, because all of us got some start point, and it's some level that we won't go back to, but because we remember it, we take more pride in what we're currently responsible for that feeds us to keep us, moving forward.
So, um, what do men's energy and vitality look like? I'm gonna go
Forgot what your
different.
voice sound like.
I
You
know,
heard
right?
it just last week.
Hey man, I
We
was just sitting
34
here.
minutes into the show.
I was just sitting there hanging out, man, enjoying the conversation that was happening. I'm gonna go a different route. For me, I'm going to say that men's energy looks like being grounded. I think that's a great place to start. When you are grounded, and you probably heard me use this analogy before. When you are grounded, you have the ability to weather the storm. You're grounded in a foundation that has some substance to it, and then of course on that foundation you have to create your framework, and then you can construct everything around the frame. Without the foundation, without the framework, there is no construction of anything worthwhile. So, that being said, when the storms of life come about, you can weather the storm. So, what exactly are we talking about when we're talking about this? Yeah, I know some people, the first thought that comes to mind is like physical fitness. Okay, sure. But being focused, right? You have the ability to focus on something, right? And it's not just focusing on a number of different things. You're focusing on what is significant to you in your life. What is your purpose, getting down to what is your calling, not just your purpose, because we all have a joint purpose, but what is your calling when it comes down to your particular life? Like, what were you put here to do? There is something specific that has your name on it. Um, and then when we start bringing in the word vitality, now we're looking at vitality as it looks like to, your emotions, your psychological health, and all those things, right? Do you have the ability to, listen to a conversation that may not necessarily serve you well, but that conversation don't move you? Do you have the ability to listen to a conversation that actually leans in the right direction in which you're going and be an integral part of that conversation, not necessarily feeling like you have to take over the entire conversation, but making sure that the conversation flows. When we start talking about flow, now we're talking about that energy that we discuss. So being in flow, and Vic, you brought up different religions, and so sure, different religions have their own different their own different terminology. Some may say this is the way, right? For those of you who look at the Mandalorian, that should be a little funny point to you, right? The way, right? But that is also, I think, it's Buddhism, right? So Buddhism, that's their term. The way. For Christianity, they're talking about being in step with the Holy Spirit. So you look at these different things, these different aspects of a person's life that kind of helps them to get to that. We're also talking about having a positive attitude. I mean, let's be completely transparent. There's an old saying, and I know everybody's heard it before: your attitude determines your altitude. So you can't go into a thing with a bad attitude expecting positivity to meet you at the door. It doesn't work that way. Right now, we're getting into the concept of the law of attraction. Right now, you're going to start attracting those things that are at the level in which you are exhibiting that energy. So we start talking about I can't remember what the question is, but when you start talking about the person's energy and you start talking about their vitality, they go hand in hand. It literally goes hand in hand. It's not one being separate than the other. They're interconnected.
I like that. I like that. Hey, a lot of great points, a lot of great comments and thoughts that's been shared. So I really appreciate that. I'm gonna jump over to the comments and to the chat. Appreciate everybody who has contributed to the chat tonight. Make sure while you're here, go ahead and hit that like button, that share button, all of those different things like that. Adrian Thomas, thank you so much for your question. His question was this. He said, "So, do you think that the origin of a man's energy stems from his mind first?" I asked him to pick two different people to respond to this so we can move on to the next talking point. But he said he'd like for Vic and Antoine to answer this. So, very briefly, I'd like for you guys to answer this. For Adrian, please.
So do you think that the origin of a man's energy stems from his mind first? Um, I think, yeah, I think his environment stimulates the way that he thinks. So he has to quickly assess, where he ranks in his environment, and then he will make moves that are rooted in certain levels of preservation accordingly. So that man will think different depending on the resources that he has available to him. So I think absolutely that the power of his mind, the energy that comes from his mind, because he has to see something, he has to be willing to do something, see success in other areas, and then take what he's learned and apply it to his current environment. This is part of the adaptation process, um, and everybody wants just to become more efficient. If you really truly want to become more efficient, um, the energy that he puts into it has to come from his mind first.
Well, I'm a strong believer in thinking it and making it happen, right? So I'm going to definitely agree. Everything starts from your mind, how you feel, because nobody else is going to make you feel good. What you think it is what you become. It's just the way it is. If you wake up in the morning and your thoughts on the negative, you're going to translate that through your whole day, right? I make it a point to make sure that when I wake up in the morning, I'm thanking God, my eyes are open, right? And then I'm saying, okay, what's the most productive thing I got to get done today? And I got to get this done. And that puts me in a mood of getting ready to go, because there's if you sit in your bed long enough, that's where all your thoughts come in. That's where all your thoughts come in. If you wake up and you go back to bed, if you wake up and you can't go back to bed, that's where all the negative thoughts come in, because you have a chance to just let it swell up in your brain. So yes, your energy starts from the minute your eyes open, and the minute I don't even bother grabbing my phone. Not that I'm a tech guy, but I don't even grab my phone because I know that's going to get me on and off the wrong track. I might get a text or something stupid, right? So I determine what makes me happy in the morning, and that's my coffee and the biggest thing I have to accomplish in that day. And then everything else comes afterwards, and I'm a strong believer. I control my environment. I control the people around me. I don't have to like you, and I love knowing that you don't have to like me. And I wake up for me. I don't wake up for you. I don't wake up to answer your text. I don't wake up for the phone. I wake up for me. And I think everybody needs to be selfish like that, because at the end of the day, it's your problems and not nobody else's. And I think if you operate like that, you learn how to heal yourself and move forward. I'm selfish like that. I really don't care what anybody thinks. And I think everybody needs to wake up like that.
Hey, appreciate that, Vic. Appreciate that, Antoine. Adrian, I'm gonna give you a bonus. Give you some free chicken. I'm gonna throw Coach up there, and he gonna give you his perspective too. So here you go, Adrian.
So I like what everybody said. Again, I'm gonna take a different approach to the question. Do you think that the origin of a man's energy stems from his mind? No. I think the origin of a man's energy stems from the energy pool that we all exist in. A man simply channels that energy. So what he has to get to the point of doing is to where he has to get to the point to where he learns how to channel the right energy. And I say that intentionally because I think, for all of us on this panel, when we were younger, we channeled a whole lot of the wrong energy and it did not serve us well. So when you think about it, looking at the origin comes from an exterior perspective. So you get to the point to where energy is channeled to and through you. For other people, we use different terminologies, but energy does not come to me and stay with me. It has to come to me and through me. So, great question. But I highlight the fact that it doesn't start with me. It exists someplace. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. So with that being said, it cannot originate with me.
Adrian, I hope you got everything answered for you. You got 3 different points, you got 3 different views, you got 3 different people speaking on it. So hopefully they were able to come together and give you exactly what you was looking for with being able to answer your question. We're gonna move right along, man. One thing I want to talk about right now, we talked about a bunch of different types of energy that I've heard a bunch of different types. Roland highlighted a couple of different ones. Other people talked about them too. So but everybody places a different amount of importance on positive energy. I know for some people they don't even really think about energy as even a term that they even associate with in their vocabulary. So I just want to know from you guys, how much what is the amount of value that you place on the importance of positive energy? And I'm just going to start with me. Like, I place a lot of importance on it and a lot of value on it. You know what I mean? Like, my time is important. Like, what I do with my time is very important. It's very valuable. My energy, how I am around people, how I'm perceived by people. I work in elementary school and I'm around I'm around young minds all day long. So what they see in me and what energy that I'm giving off is what can sometimes be emulated or picked up by those little kids and different things like that. I'm in, it's pre-K through 5th grade in there. So it's 3-year-olds all the way up to, 11 and 12-year-olds that's there. And they're very impressionable, and, it's teachers that come in there sagging and dragging all day long. And then there's people that come in with high energy. And you can tell a lot of the differences in the students, in their behavior and, how they are emotionally when you talk to the students that come from different classrooms. Students in this classroom with this teacher are like this. Students in this classroom are like this. So like I said, I work around kids all day long. So I place a lot of value on the importance of positive energy and how I understand that in that setting, I am a role model, good, bad, or indifferent. I am in a position of authority. I'm a school counselor. I'm an adult there. So when they see me, they're going to receive something from how I treat them, and how I treat them in many cases has to do with my energy level. So I place a lot of value on the importance of positive energy. And like I think someone said, when someone come in the room and bring their energy, you can feel it. It can immediately destroy a room. However, when it's real energy, it don't last long. You know what I mean? We get them jokers up out of there.
See, I think we have to differentiate positive energy and high energy, because positive energy, I can tell you something that you don't like, but it's positive in motion trying to get you to do what you need to do. Whereas if I have low energy, my mood is somber or whatever, That's the difference between having negative energy versus when we say positive and negative. I think we think, oh, you're happy all the time. No, you're not going to be happy all the time. Life ain't going to allow you to be happy all the time. Happiness is simply everything happened to go your way. That's not life. But even in the times where you have negative things that may take place, you have to utilize that, because remember, fuel, that's why we eat food. Sometimes you don't even like the food. Like my wife is vegan. Sometimes I got to eat that stuff and I'm like, oh man, but it's going to be fuel inside my body. I'm going to use it for energy. And I think that's how we have to do with life and conversations and just dealing with people on a day-to-day, because sometimes people will take, like Chris got his name up there, talking about the angry man. He's not angry, he's passionate. But when people look at his demeanor, they're taking it saying,
let them think I'm angry. Let them think I'm angry. Fine. You want to say I'm mad? I'm mad.
See,
What
but
did
they don't
Captain? What did Bruce Banner say when Captain America said, "Hey, I think it's about time for you to be angry"? You know what he said? That's my secret, Captain. I'm always angry. So you're damn right. I'm angry all the time. I'll take it.
So you'll take it, but they not understanding. But I get what you're saying.
You know, I place a big thing on the importance of positive energy, right? I'll be like in a great mood. You guys need, I always notice who's around me when I'm feeling real good and who's around me, who I'm attracting when I'm feeling like shit, right? And I'll know it because I could see I could smell them around the corner. And I always say, if I'm in a great mood and I know you call me and I know what kind of energy you bring in, I will make up an excuse not to even talk to you, because it's all about me. Right? And it's all about my creativity. And I need to be on a certain level, and you do not fit into that circle. The positive energy is so important. It takes positive energy just for me to get up and go to the gym, right? But then all I have to do is lift up my shirt and say, now I know where I'm going. So there's reasons that I create around myself for that positivity. You know, if I have to do something, the hardest thing for me to do is to start a drawing from scratch, because and I need all the energy to start it, because it's just a white canvas and you're like, God damn, I got it from this to this. And you're rubbing your eyes and you're like, okay, you got your pot of coffee, and I have to put all that energy, that positivity, to put hand to paper. And that's the most hardest thing. And that's why I focus so much on surrounding myself with good people, because you need that. Sometimes you need that little lift. Right. So I'm not saying I'm always happy. Don't get me wrong, but I'm always striving to be happy. I always want to put myself where I'm wanted and where I'm needed to be, make someone else happy too. So yeah, that's how I see it.
Hey, real quick, I don't want to slide over that part that Roland said, the difference between having high energy and having positive energy. You know what I mean? Because I think maybe what I was probably describing was more so high energy. Even though I'm positive with everything that I do, I think the energy level that I have sometimes, and I think that's a very good point. Sometimes, they can be misunderstood, where you think someone's been high energy or being positive, and it's just high energy. They're not necessarily being positive. And like you said, even with the low energy part too. So I appreciate that, Roland.
I appreciate that. I wanted to, jump in is the question about the amount of value that you place on positive energy. I'll admit, as I'm getting older, I place more value on it. I won't front. Like, let's say like maybe about 20 years ago, so I would have been in my 20s. If you would have said to me, Thomas, check your energy, I probably would have checked your chin, because I'm like, well, who you talking to? You know what I'm saying? Like, you telling me what to do. See, so I didn't realize I didn't realize it. I didn't realize what someone was saying to me, at the moment. So I didn't see. So here I am already agitated. Someone makes a comment to me that may actually become positive, especially if they say, like, hey, check your energy. And I'm already like, what? So, so as I've gotten older, and this is where I want to go back to something that Chris said earlier. I'm learning that I have to continue to be more accountable to me as well, right? Because that means it makes me check myself. It makes me monitor myself. It makes me want to be more aware. So it's like now, even though I go to places now, I love to ask y'all something like, did you used to go places more concerned about other people's energy, and now as you're now adjusting and shifting, I'm actually more focused on my energy now. So it's like I don't okay. See, yeah, I used to like so when I learned that about energy, then I started being concerned about other people's energy, right? I'm like, oh boy, you know. Then I met Uncle Junior in the gym, and he really helped me to understand a lot more about energy, the body, and physicality, and like how to keep it going. Fast forward, and this will be the last thing that I say. Now, it's not that I'm like pompous, like my energy is all that matters, and I got big energy, so you better. But I do recognize, to what Antoine said, a lot of the engagements that I have, right? The interactions that I have, I actually do have an impact on that with the energy that I bring in. It's not just on someone else, you know. So I just wanted to ask that and then just say over time, Uncle Junior, the values increased. You know, like I said, 20 years ago, I would have been like, well, what? Man, nobody think about that. What you talking about? So I just wanted to say that. Like,
Yeah, but doctor, you know what? You know why as you get older, it's because you have more crap, more baggage as you get older. You got more negative and positive behind you. When you're young, you only have a certain amount. But as you get older, now you're getting some serious life experiences, right? So it takes more energy to be happy, right? Because the anchor is a little bit bigger now, right? That's why I believe in shedding that crap. Right? You got to shed it. You have to shed it along the way, or else you just got too much on your plate. You know, it's that guy that keeps everything inside until that one little simple thing that doesn't even matter makes him explode. That's why I'm saying along the way in life, I always like to shed things. That's why every year at Christmas, my ritual is pick up my phone. If there's not a name attached to it, delete every number because you didn't care about calling me anyway. Right? And if somebody doesn't call me on my birthday, I delete them from my Facebook. If somebody doesn't write me on a happy birthday, I delete them from my face. I delete everybody because I said, you didn't miss me anyways. It's been a year. I haven't heard from you. Obviously, it didn't cross your mind. So it's not like I called you or you didn't call me. You have every right to delete my number. And all you are is making my phone have a lot more numbers that it's unnecessary. And that's why I keep telling everybody, it's okay to be selfish because it's your life. You can't control what others do, but you can control what you do and you control what comes in and what goes out. So I say when you like at the age I'm at now, I don't want my anchor to be so heavy that I'm regretting crap way back in my teens and in my 20s and in my 30s. I'm like, no, I can't make up for that. I can't make up for that. Right? I'm sorry I hurt you, but if you're still being pissed about me in my 40s, then I gotta cut you loose because I've already let you go. I gotta let you go. I'm not gonna go back and try to make up for something I did back in eons. No, people got to shed things. You got to shed the weight. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, but I don't need you to love me. I just need you to respect me and get out of my way.
So
I want to ask Coach if he can address some of that because you talked about grounded, Coach. So I love what Antoine said. I want to know you talking on.
yeah. So I'm advocating all night. I'm on my bike, gentlemen. I'm just letting y'all know. I'm coming from all different perspectives tonight.
Do it. Let's do it.
See,
Want it.
to this question, right? And I love this question. What value do you place on positive energy? The initial answer is none. I place value on energy, period. If it's not for negative energy, you would never know positive energy. So that's the first place I want to start. Antoine talked about that anchor, right? I need to make sure that my wind still works properly. So I need to be exposed to some negative energy so I can actually appreciate when I'm around positive energy. So I can actually appreciate the fact that I can generate positive energy within a certain environment. So I think that's important to understand. I talked about the foundation previously. Well, the foundation has to be tested for you to know that the foundation is actually good. So I think that's important to understand. So we go back and look at what value do you place on positive energy. It's not that I overvalue positive energy. I just value energy. That way it helps me to understand where I need to be, where I need to flow to, ebbs and flow. I think that's important to understand. Life, and you know, if you understand how energy works, it ebbs and flows. So you need to ebb and flow as well. You can't be oversaturated with positive energy because if you're overexposed to positive energy, you'll stop appreciating it. You will start expecting it. In fact, you will actually take it for granted. So I think within the scope of all of that, we need to understand energy is the thing that we value. Being able to identify what's positive and what's negative is the key. And then we need to be conduits of the energy that we want to create, stimulate, and motivate within our spaces.
But I don't believe you. I don't. No, I have to push back on that because I don't believe, in my opinion, I don't believe in that whole You listen, I already know what it's like to lose a race. I don't need to keep experiencing it. So I'm going to saturate myself with as much positivity as that possible. All right. I don't need to, I will never get enough positive energy because I already know what it's like to lose. I already know what it's like to get punched in the face. I already know what it's like to lose a fight. I got more than enough to fall back on that that reality will slap you in the face if you think you're going to go through life having too much positive energy. That means you are living in a bubble because you could turn on the TV and get negative energy, right? So you have to be on a positive to start your day. There's no such thing as too much positive energy. Now, if you're talking positive energy around a guy that's depressed, whoa, that's a different story. He's going through something, so maybe you have to tone it down a bit, but it still doesn't mean you can't try to generate a little bit of what you have into him. But at the end of the day, I don't need no reminders of negative energy. I will always appreciate it. I don't need to, it'll never be bigger than me because I've been already lost. I've been through that already. I'm at the age in my life where, no, I was the kid that burnt my hand on the stove. And my father told me 10 times, don't touch the stove. I don't need to be reminded anymore. I ain't touching the stove no more. Right? I don't need to remind myself of this stove.
So speaking of appreciating, I definitely appreciate you saying that. And just to be clear, I'm not saying that we reject positive energy. What I'm saying is that you have to be exposed to negative energy so that you can appreciate positive energy. Everybody has life experiences, but this is the thing that we cannot do. We cannot overvalue our experiences to the point that we glamorize our experiences. That's the key. So whatever we went through in the past, that was only for us to learn and grow. When we encounter somebody who is going through the exact same thing, we share those experiences only for the sake of connecting with them. That is it. That is all my prior experiences are all about. From there,
so it's like, I'm sorry. So it's like knowing what it feels like, so that way you know it's not supposed to feel like this.
You got to know how to take an L.
Yeah.
I want
Which
to
I think
go
that's what I was saying, though. I think that's what he was saying.
I want to go back to glamorizing, Coach. Glamorizing that stuff. What did you mean by that?
Well, so I think sometimes what people want to do is spend too much time talking about their experiences, right?
Euphoria.
Right, exactly. Here's the reality of the truth, and I try to say it as bluntly as I possibly can. Nobody cares about your experience. Your experience was for you to grow. That is it. That's the only thing. Once I grow beyond my experience, then my experience is used to help somebody else grow.
Yep.
It's actually called the testimony for a reason. Once I go through the test, then I have the testimony to help my brother or sister come through it. That's the only reason I use it. That's it. So when I talk about these positive and negatives, right, again, it's all about just understanding where these things exist. If I went through a traumatic event, that is obviously a negative energy. It exists in the space of negative energy. Once I pull myself out of that through the aid of whoever else or whatever else I've subscribed to, then I'm in a place to where I can help somebody else. But this is the thing that I try to help people to understand. Every level you go to, you're going to experience negative experiences. Why? Because you're not supposed to stay there. I don't care where you are.
Yeah.
So we can seek all the positivity we want to at this level. But guess what's going to happen as soon as you get comfortable? Negative experiences coming around the corner, negative energy coming around the corner so that you can grow from that. Rolling booting up, man. I'm sorry, I'm talking too long. Go ahead, bro.
Good. But no, I was just thinking about how we all grew up, and we, like me being from the inner city, and I grew up north, and we talk about how we had to go to school unless it was over 10 inches of snow and had to walk to school and all these things. Those were negative experiences that produces a positive in me. Say, I don't want to walk no more. I don't want to shovel snow no more. So I live in Texas. And you got to use all that negativity to push yourself, because if you fail forward, that's how you do in business. That's how you do in life. You fail forward. So if you burn your hand on something, don't do it no more. If you do it again, you stupid. Or you just crazy. But when it comes to positivity, I can't sit up there and act like growing up in the hood was, some of us like to do it. Oh, we did this and we hung out there. People died. Houses were burned up. See, we live in that euphoric state, so we don't have to face the realities of such things. That's what I think Coach was saying. and you were kind of parallel to what you guys were saying, Antoine.
It creates delusion, is what he's saying. Like, you can't win every single thing. You know, if you don't think that you can lose, you'll end up taking more risks that are unnecessary. You see what happened with adrenaline junkies all the time. You know, like wingsuit pilots. I don't know if you guys are familiar with those dudes. They jump out ahead of a wingsuit and they, you know, how much skydiving do you do? You know what I'm saying? to decide, you know, I'm just going to put on a squirrel outfit and just, you know what I'm saying, glide through, you know, like land structures and everything. But at some point, you got to, like, when you reverse engineer that, like, how many different base jumps, skydives, you know what I'm saying, high energy, you know, activities that they did before they discovered that and it became a passion, you know? Yeah. So if you get too comfortable with that type of sport and that type of risk, something happens to you. You guys remember Ken Block?
Who?
He was a precision driver, man. Like, you ever heard of DC shoes, Hoonigan performance vehicle? Okay, the guy number 43, Ken Block, the driver, he got killed in a snowmobile accident earlier this year in January, top of the year. But he's had all types of crazy driving, you know what I'm saying, closed courses and everything. And but he went out doing what he was known for. So the risk that comes with it, you know what I'm saying, it has a cost. If you're too good at it without knowing what failure looks like. But some passions don't have a margin for error. A pilot can't say oops, man. A pilot saying oops is not the same thing as a 14-year-old kid or 2-year-old kid saying oops. So
but you know, Vic, to understand, like, you know, to understand a high risk seeker, that somebody that needs that adrenaline rush, right? I could put myself in their shoes because I can understand that part of you losing your life is what makes the adrenaline even more worth it, right? Because if you don't have that I'm on the verge of losing my life, you won't get that stimulation, and that needs to be injected in you. That's why they push it. Nothing's better. I don't care what anybody says, and not that I wish it on anybody. I'm sure these guys if I'm going out, I at least want to know I pushed the envelope and I died doing what I love, right? It's like that guy, the Big Blue. I don't know if you guys ever saw that movie, and they do this holding their breath and they go all the way down. And the guy in the movie goes, you know what? If I die doing it, don't bring my body back up. Just leave me down there. That's where I want to be. And I understood that completely because he went to the edge of his life to seek that adrenaline. You got to give them credit for that. It's like people say, well, look at that. You know, there's rich people go, how do you guys get into boxing? I go, that's why your son will never be a champion, because he'll never have that hunger. That's why he will never be a champion. You won't understand. You're not supposed to understand UFC. You make millions of dollars. You don't understand what it's like. These guys aren't fighting for the money anymore. These guys are fighting for the bragging rights and the title and the belt. You will never see a rich man be a champion boxer. No boxer has ever been filthy, stinking rich and a boxer.
You saying been rich and then decided to go box?
Yeah. Like they come from a good upbringing. Like they come from this glorious upbringing. They'll never have that hunger. Ever. Every boxer has a saddest story. I had nothing else to do but box. Even the greatest Muhammad Ali, nothing else to do but box. So champions aren't made with glory in their pockets. It just doesn't happen, right? It's like this. It takes a gift to recognize the gift. And every so often, greatness gives birth to a phenom. Those are the Michael Jacksons. Those are the LeBron James. Those are the Michael Jordans. That's what it is. So I totally get what you're saying with that, actually.
Yeah.
Can I just please? Okay, this talk is reminding me of my number one favorite movie. Number one. Y'all gonna probably think I'm weird for it. My number one favorite movie is Fight Club. Okay, it's one of my favorite books too. Okay, well, that's not the name of the book, but the name of the movie. Say it again, Antoine.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, you got it. You got it. That's right. With the soap, him and Edward Norton on the cover. And what I love,
the first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club.
The second rule of Fight Club, Chris, is
you don't talk about Fight Club.
I forgot about that one.
Look, what I loved about that movie, like I just want to just kind of maybe just bring in something like a lot of what Coach was saying and well, really everybody, what Coach and Roland in particular, right? Here you had this main character who had a lot of ideas and had a lot of energy, but he had nowhere to put it.
And a lot of issues.
And a lot of issues. Oh, come on now. And he created I think according to the movie, it was unintentional. He creates another personality. But that personality, going back to the first question, Uncle, it started attracting all these other men who saw someone who was willing to fight themselves. And then they joined in and all of this. And the reason why I really love what everybody's saying reminds me of that is, in particular, that movie, it was about men, and it was about, a man who was pissed at society, who was mad at his life, who was trying to figure things out. And then he created another, I guess, person in his mind to be who he really wants. So then that makes me go to what Coach was saying about being grounded. I think that I almost want to, not on today's podcast, because Uncle Junior already set the topic. I would want to talk a little bit more at some point, about what does it mean to be grounded? What does it mean to be anchored? Because I think that understanding what it means to be grounded makes me really focus on what Chris and what Antoine been saying, like when you hit a wall or when things come at you, or exactly what Roland was saying about how to deal with that positive energy and when it happens. I think that I almost want to say, I think I might be able to tell somebody's energy from time to time now, or say that's going on with them and I don't want it going on with me or something like that. But y'all just made me think about my favorite movie, just in how these men were angry, mad, but when they got together, they found a way to do something common, like together. And even though the violence of them fighting each other, they weren't trying to kill each other. It's like, let's get this off so we can move. And here goes Vic talking about, I guess they had their own code. Okay. All right. I'll back up. I just wanted to say that.
Men have code.
Make me think about that.
Men have code.
But so that's just like Mike Tyson, right? I don't know most of you guys remember Mike Tyson in his prime. Like, Mike was not supposed to lose that fight. Think about it. He wasn't supposed to lose that fight. But like I said, it has to happen because his resiliency has to be tested. I don't care. I'm telling you, once you get to a certain level, once you overcome the test at whatever level you're at, it gives way to a new level. Once you get to that level, another test is coming. It is inevitable. It is part of the law of polarity. It must happen. You will not experience positive without the negative. So that's why I say I don't necessarily overvalue positive. I just value energy, being able to understand, because for me, it helps me to understand whether my foundation is good. If the negative energy knocks me off tilt, I go back to my foundation. I don't look at the negative aspect of whatever the thing is. I go back to my foundation and go back and start make sure that my foundation is good, so that when I go up against this thing again, I'm winning. So now I'm going to the next level, but I'm still working on my foundation, because if whatever hit me at this level knocks me off tilt, then the next thing is really going to hit me hard. That's the key.
Yeah, Coach. So then that saying that they say that you are prepared. I'm sorry, Chris. I wasn't trying to cut you off. I just asked.
You're fine. Keep going.
Okay, brother. Well, what you just said, Coach, though, to me, like, isn't that the same thing as when people say the battle you're going into, you're already ready for? Technically, or you have what you need because you've already been through something, but you got to get ready because something new was coming. I mean, I'm just like asking, is that the same thing?
Yeah, I really do believe that it does not matter what you're going to face. You are equipped to handle it. The issue is that a lot of times we don't know it, right? And so whatever this thing that comes up, being equipped to handle it and then becoming equipped for the next thing is also the key. So everything that you're going through is building you for the next level. So what we have to do is not get to the point that we become super infatuated with the experience or super infatuated with positivity to where we're not growing beyond where we are right now. That's important to understand.
Okay. But the best thing a man could do is question his defeats. That's the best thing he can do. You got to ask yourself why you lost. You got to ask yourself why you didn't succeed. You got to ask yourself these questions. Don't just skip over and say, I'm going to get him the next step. No. Let's talk about why you lost. How about that?
Yeah, let's watch the tape.
You have to face it. That's why boxers go back and watch why
Let's
they lost
watch
the
the
fight.
tape.
They have to face it. They can't say, "Oh, wait till the next time I'm gonna get." No. You got to get back over there.
Nah,
Sit
you
down,
got to see
humble
why he
yourself,
slipped you in
humble
your
yourself,
chin, and you
figure
thought
out things.
you was
Yeah,
ready for it.
that's the best thing a man can do.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Positive
You know?
energy breeds resilience.
there you
It
go.
reinforces resilience. Like for the same thing that coach is talking about, you got two sides of the brain. Like Antoine is over here. That Antoine is speaking from the ego side. Like you can't go anything thinking that you can lose. Nobody wakes up going and preparing to lose. But
Yep.
the part that coach is representing is the discernment part of the brain that's saying, hey, you can win because you train hard, you know. But if you lose, this ain't the end either, you know, because you in the ring, in the arena with another capable opponent that rose to, you know what I'm saying, like the challenge, or you rise into the challenge. And if you don't look at it as a challenge, you're gonna take it for granted. Because the more successful you become, the harder the fall is. You know, if you don't take care of your access to greatness, because your access to greatness is about taking that positive energy, turn it into something kinetic. Because plenty of people sit positive with a positive thought, but they don't do the work to make it kinetic. You know what I'm saying? Then you hear people say faith without works is dead, and everything else. You know, like you can come up with whatever phrase you want to do to connect the positive energy to the potential. So it goes from potential to kinetic, you know what I'm saying, energy, right? And you still got to produce an outcome. So you're not just out here doing something wild and being just high energy, like what you were talking about before, and not focused. So the part that coach is speaking from speaks more about the focus on how to, you know, tame that beast that you need, like what Antoine is communicating, to go accomplish whatever it is you're gonna do. Because Antoine, as a creator, who, if his main focus is completing his artwork, he can't let other things distract him, and then he got to go into it with a different type of energy, the same type of way. Like if when you decide to put together an analytical product, you know, you're going to do 2-3 levels of different research. You're going to look at it on day 1, day 2. You're going to critique yourself, read your own work 16 to 17 times, try to fight over your own insecurities about it, because you want to communicate a refined product that's credible, you know? And so, like, that's the part of coach's brain that I recognize, because when you teach people, you got to teach them the right way the first time. You have to leave room to have your opinion changed. You can't allow your anecdotal experience to make you obtuse to what the other person is communicating, because even if you don't understand it, and it's not your duty to take that reality away from them, that's your opportunity to find a better way to deliver a message where they can see a different point of view. And you have to be committed to doing that if it's for a healthy reason. And that's the different type of resolve that I appreciate from coach, because some people need a translator. Antoine need a translator all the time. and we know that. We all know that it is a running joke, you know what I'm saying, that Antoine needs a translator. Regardless,
I'm raw at
it depends. No matter how raw and untamed his
listen.
delivery
I
is,
love it here.
and we had a facial expressions to reflect it, and
I tell everybody to shoot for the stars, because if you land on the damn moon, you're still in space. That's a fact.
But see,
Well, I
can
want
I
to
say
hear.
something real
I
quick?
want to hear what Chris has. I want to hear what Christopher has to say. 'Cause he's been over there, and I want to hear what he has to say.
Vic brought up resilience. Do you know where that resilience comes from? And I'm going to speak as a product of this. And there's a lot of us out here. That resilience comes from the fact that we already had what we needed in the first place, and we built the confidence to move forward. We can actually do this thing. That's where the resilience comes from. We know we can do it, and we don't need nothing from the outside to make it happen, because we have everything we need right here.
is in the book. It really is.
everybody knows, and I say this pretty much every other Friday on the Empowering Perspectives podcast, I hate Tyler Perry plays and shows. I think they are all trash. But I was watching Meet the Pains, and it was the episode where Calvin got shot, and he said he didn't feel like moving on anymore. And Curtis Payne said to his son, sometimes the divine creator gives you responsibility just to keep you moving. And he gives you everything you need to fulfill that responsibility while you're moving. So just keep moving. That's the importance of having that kind of energy around you. It gives you a level of responsibility. It says, I gotta move. I know I hit a rough patch, but I gotta go. I can't stay here. Staying here isn't going to advance anything. That's the major importance of it. So with me, if you're asking how much value I place on it, I place a lot of value on it, but I don't place more value on it than I do personal responsibility to uphold it. And I'm gonna shut up.
I like it. I like it. I like it. Well, you know what, man, I'm gonna throw this question out there. I wasn't going to throw it out there. I was going to wait, but I'll just go ahead and put it out there now. So, what is? Let me take the other one off. Yeah. How can men identify and avoid people who drain their energy? And I want to start by saying this. We all have our own personal responsibility, especially as men. You know, no one can make us do anything. You know, if our energy is gone, you know, my point on this is that, you know, how can we identify people, potential people who have the potential of sucking from us, sucking our energy? You know what I mean? I want to talk more about what's our responsibility as far as allowing people um, to giving our energy to other people. It's more so that way than avoiding people who drain our energy, because people can't drain our energy unless we give it to them. You know what I mean? So we have to be able to give it to them in order for them to drain it. So that's just my thoughts on it. But whatever
But
you
people,
guys want to speak on, speak on
but
it.
Garfield, people can bring around a dark cloud, right?
But they can't drain my energy though.
Read
But they
the
can bring
room.
that.
Yeah,
I have to
allowing
give it
them
to
to
them.
drain your energy
Read
is
the
a
room.
choice.
Yeah, it's a choice. But
That is a
people come.
choice.
Some people have that. They're vampire suckers. They just got that
Read.
cloud
You
over
gotta
their head.
read the room, man.
Yep.
Every
Yeah.
space ain't for you. Like that's why they say go where you celebrate it, not where you tolerate it. You gotta read the room. You know what I'm saying? Like you can be in a place that might be generally unsafe for your mental well-being. You know, um, everybody don't go to concerts. Everybody don't go to crowded places. Um, you don't go to places that put you in defensive situations. Um, I think you just got to read the room. I think, and places that generate a lot of anxiety, insecurity, and loud conversations in your subconscious. I think those are places that induce anxiety, and then they put you in a defensive position if you're anxious. So I
That's
think
because you know you're not supposed to be there, and
because
you're
you
there
yeah, because you're
anyway. You know
overexposed.
you're not supposed to be
You're not
there.
supposed to be there, and so the potential of you bumping into somebody or being in a situation that drains your energy and throws you off schedule, so to speak. I think those. I think the instinct to read the room keeps you, you know what I'm saying, buffered from that negative outcome or the people that can put you in bad situations that you can't control.
Okay, so I want to talk. I want to hit on the identifying it. You know, go ahead, Roland. I want to hear what you guys say, but I also want to make sure we talk about how to identifying these people. You know, what I mean, what are some of the behaviors or whatever? But go ahead, Ro.
I think everybody knows a Debbie Downer. Everybody knows somebody who's always mad, who's always angry, who always has something negative to say. And if you're a positive, like I'm a positive person. I mean, and I'm not trying to stroke my own ego or nothing like that. But sometimes I'm not always on high. But even when I'm like low, I get on Facebook and I'm encouraging because I'm trying to encourage me. I always, because growing up, my grandmother had a garden. So she wasn't out there doing the tilling and stuff like that. So we would have to put refuse, trash, and other things. Then I came down south and found out they use manure and everything in the garden. You have to be able to put all that stuff that people giving you under your feet, under your dirt, because something gonna grow out of that, and you gonna see something positive, and you just gotta stay on your grind to be positive, because you can't be thinking about what somebody else doing. How, oh, he mad, so I'm mad. Oh, I gotta get away from him. No, he gonna get away from me because I'm gonna constantly be me. I'm gonna constantly be positive. I'm gonna constantly encourage, and then eventually he gonna either he gonna change, or I'm gonna change, or the situation go change. But something has to change, and I can't let it be me. I have to be, as Chris said, resilient. I have to be resilient in making sure. And resiliency comes from trials. It don't come from positive anything. It comes from you going through the situation and using that to uplift yourself.
That's the only way you build resilience is through pain. You ain't getting it any other way. That's
No
why
pain, no gain.
you got to get it from somewhere. But I don't understand this. The thing I want to know is like the identify. What does it say? Identify and avoid. The thing is, for me, I know who I am, right? You know who you don't get along with. Be honest with yourself. So first of all, I wouldn't put myself in an environment or go anywhere that I know I'm not welcome. Secondly, what's wrong with telling somebody you ain't doing it for me? Like, find another tree to hang under. Like, I don't understand why people have it. Oh, I don't
I
want to
just
hurt
had
the
that
person.
conversation yesterday
Why
at
do
work.
what do you care about hurting that person's feelings that's not making you feel good? Do you really care? Do you really need that person? Why can't you just tell them? You can't make bad news sound pretty. Bro, you ain't cutting it from me. We're on two different levels. We can't talk. And what's wrong with
Antoine,
that?
See,
many people
but
are
see, to
hold
Antoine's
up,
point.
I'm gonna jump in real quick.
Okay.
So sometimes you might not recognize when you're giving away too much energy. I don't know if it was on Empowering. I think last Friday, it might have been doing a show after Empowering Perspective podcast every Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Oh,
We had
that
a
plug was
conversation,
flawless.
and I was talking to Coach, I think, and I was talking about how I felt like I was in a funk. Nothing was wrong. I wasn't stressed. There was nothing bothering me. And I was like, one of the things I mentioned is I don't know what it is, but I'm looking forward to figuring out what it is and what was going on that caused me to be in this funk. Well, last night, when y'all got this text message about the show or email about the show, it was late last night because that's when it finally hit me. I finally recognized what the issue was. My issue was I was giving so much of my energy to other people, but I wasn't I wasn't getting anything. I wasn't receiving anything back. Right. So I'm just like, man, what is going on? And I was like, well, who am I around? Who am I talking to? What are my conversations looking like? And all of these things. And I was like, you know what? I've been giving away all of this energy and I haven't been getting anything back from these people. So I hadn't recognized why I was like I said, I
You
was in
needed
like
to
a funk.
recharge.
Nothing was wrong. Nothing was wrong. I was fine, healthy, great life. Everything's going well for me. So I couldn't figure out who it was. And what I realized, just my energy level was so low because I was giving it. I was expending so much of it to other people, and they wasn't reciprocating that energy. So what you have to do sometimes is you have to sometimes identify these people, and sometimes you have to avoid them or spend less time around these people.
So I talked about this, man, maybe about 2 months ago now. Two separate shows over the time span of 2 months. The first one was about personal competence, and the second was about social competence. These are the concepts behind emotional intelligence. So, what we have to understand is that there's some things that I'm responsible for when it comes to me, right? I am responsible for self reflecting and self managing, right? There's some things I'm also responsible when it comes down to other people, right? When we start looking at social management, social awareness, and we start looking at relationship management, that's the key. Because what we understand that from understanding those key points, we realize that the most important thing that we can do is listen and observe. A lot of times we do too much of this, right? And this isn't directed at you, Uncle Junior. I just want to make sure I'm saying that. A lot of times we do too much of this, right? But as we're doing this, these aren't working at the peak in which they're supposed to be working, right? You have to learn to observe somebody else and learn to listen to another person, right? So when you're doing that, now you're gauging the environment. I think, Vic, you mentioned reading the room. That's what reading the room is all about. That's how you can get to the point of sensing another person's energy level. I think it's important to address that we can't be so negative conscious that we forget to help other people. I think that's the key. So it's not a bad thing, Uncle Junior, that you were helping somebody else. In fact, that's one of the things that you're called to do. You're called to help somebody else. But I also want to say that we shouldn't give anybody what's in our cup. We give them the overflow. So we constantly keep our cup filled and we give away the overflow. The overflow is for other people. Once you get to the point where you start feeling your energy waning, you have to go back and recharge. You go back and read the Bible. Jesus often went to the mountaintop so that he could recharge. So we have to get to the point to where we go back and recharge as well. So when it comes down to identifying those people, we identify those people through listening and observing. Sometimes we need to ask more questions instead of giving more of our resume. I think that's where we fall a lot of times in error. We want to tell people how great we are. And it's not that we're not great, but nobody really cares how great you are. What they really care about is, do you care about me enough to ask questions about me? No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So learn to ask people questions, learn to understand who they are, learn to understand what makes them tick. Then you might be surprised that they share some things about themselves to where you, in your own, skill set, you may have the perfect ability to help that person overcome. But then here's the other side of it as well. Sometimes I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't look to connect with everybody. I'm sorry, I'm telling on me. I don't look to connect with everybody. I have a pool, right? Once I start moving people out of my pool, now I've made room for other people. But when my pool is full, I can't put anybody else in my pool because these people pull enough from me. And I'm gonna be completely transparent. I don't want to rob them from what they're requiring of me. That's the key. I also have people that I call. I have a coach's call every month that I get on. It's like 7 of us. And what we do is we talk to one another, we empower one another, and then we ask, what are you doing on the months coming? What in your next month? What are you focused on? What are you doing? How can I help you? Those are our conversations. So when it comes down to how can men identify, we listen and we observe and avoid people. Listen, don't seek to connect with everybody. It doesn't mean that you're not a good person. It doesn't mean that I don't like you. I don't have the capacity for 80 people to actually work with all the time. I have to cut off at a certain point. Once I start moving some people out, I invite other people in.
Nothing wrong with being selfish like that.
That's not selfish.
Yeah, it is.
That's expectation management.
No, we're not. Antoine is right. Antoine is right. It's selfish. But see, here's the thing though. And here's why I say it's selfish. Because it's about how I can move and how I can push my energy out there. It's not about them. So yes, it is selfish, but selfish has a negative connotation a lot of times, man. It's okay to be selfish when it comes to your energy and who you need to give it to. It's all right.
That would be selfless.
Right.
Selfish.
That's what that is. That's selfless.
Look, and this is the difference, right? That's what I was about to get into. Like the top row of this panel, all military guys. So we know what selfless service is. It is part of the culture that we understand. But without you guys having the same experience that we've had, you're going to see it as being selfish. Selfish means you cut off resources to other people. But when you're selfless, you manage your access to other people and you teach in a way where they respect the connection. So when you say, hey, look, I still want to help, but I need to take some time away, that's the selfless service piece of it. Selfish means that my connection is off to you.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So selfless is about limitations and boundaries.
Yeah, but I only ask people questions if I know their answer can benefit me in my life. If I know you ain't at the level for me to ask you, I don't want to know. Because
that's the difference between leadership.
But I'm just saying, I don't mind being selfish with my time because, like I said, if your answer cannot benefit anything with me, I got enough friends. I got tons of acquaintances. So at this stage in my life, if your answer cannot benefit me in business, I won't ask you a question, because nothing you say can benefit what I have to do. Unless you have to serve a purpose. Why else would you be standing in front of me if I'm conducting a conversation with you? I'm going to find out what you're about. I'm going to find out who you are, your morals, your values, your upbringing. And then I'm going to evaluate you at the end of the time to see if we'll have another conversation. And I'm saying there's nothing wrong with that person being selfish with his time if he wants to do it or not. It's up to him. You control what you do. You can't control what others do. So even if that person tells you a crappy answer, you just wasted time standing in front of him. Like, why? That's all. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not. I think people try to operate with always trying to be liked, like it's a need. And I think, no, be selfish. I don't need to be liked. You know who your friends are. You know who you are as a person. You shouldn't care what anybody says to you. It's like, why go to a party if you know you're not wanted, to test the waters? I can't figure that out.
We're speaking from varying degrees of objectivity. That's all.
Right.
Go ahead, Doc. But I want to say something real quick. But go ahead. I want you to go first.
No.
You've been waiting.
No, then I want to hear you, brother. You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to say.
Go ahead.
I appreciate you. So yeah, I want to say I actually agree. I think with everything. So from a pastor's perspective, just for a moment, I agree with the selfless part. Okay, because I totally get it. However, I do agree with what Antoine is saying, because there's a piece of the desire that you have that for some people, if it comes from within, there is something from within that's kind of driving that. And I can see how someone can attribute that as being selfish, but not as the negative aspect of it, you know, like in the way that you said, Vic, like, right. it's like I'm cutting off, because I don't think that it's necessarily like I know, like before Sunday, I need to retreat, okay, a day or two before to do what I need to do, because I value the spiritual development of my church members so much that I need to steal away, you know, and I need to do that, you know, and that's me doing it for them. That's the selfless part. But the selfish part is that I'm actually doing something that I know is going to feed me too. So I think I guess for me, I kind of see both, but see, here's the thing. I think the reason why I see both, and it goes back to someone just put it, but Vic, you've been saying it the whole time, you know, all things are true. You see, so, you know, so I don't think that because I want to do something that there's a selfishness to it that is necessarily negative. Just like I don't think that because I'm not always, but if I'm doing something selfless for other people, that's necessarily always positive, you know, because sometimes people could be wearing themselves out. They could be doing too much, you know, like while I'm giving to other people, some people do that because they're insecure themselves, you know, so, you know, it's like they don't know how to kind of give to themselves. So I just wanted just to say that, I mean, like, I feel like I can see what everyone's saying, but I think coming from a perspective of, you know, as you mentioned, when you said military, you know, give, you know, another form of giving, you know, serving your community, you know, like as a preacher, as a pastor, you know, so
you have to be of service to understand that.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna kind of touch on that. Vic, you said something, and I don't think you understand the type of jewel that you just dropped. I don't think you understand. Vic said being selfish is cutting off resources, but being selfless is learning how to manage who you give those resources to. That's something, that's the split that nobody bothered to dive into. Like, it's not selfish to cut off resources from somebody that's just going to siphon and not replenish. It's not selfish to do that.
Right. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? It's actually selfless of you, because you get to allocate those resources that he was going to snake from you anyway to somebody that's going to actually use it to do something. I don't think you understand how important that piece is. I don't think most people understand how important that piece is.
Yeah.
To understand the difference between I'm keeping my resources from you because you're a bum, to I'm taking my resources from you and I'm giving it to him because he knows what to do with them. And all you're doing is taking, and you're not feeding the group. So that way we can do this again with somebody else. Or we can do this again with somebody else. We can do this again with 4 or 5 different people. They can take the formula and replicate it.
That's the deeper level of personal commitment, personal competence, and social competence. That's the deeper conversation of that.
Yes, exactly. Because if you have a commitment to community, right, you're gonna have, and if you got your assets and your resources obligated to your commitment to community, you're gonna have to be in a giving spirit. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to ride the ebbs and flows out, knowing that everything that you try to do, even if positive or negative, it may not work on your timeline. You know what I'm saying? But when it doesn't happen on your timeline, you don't get defensive and become selfish and then shut down the plan. And I'm purely speaking from a leadership aspect. When you have people depending on you that you work with left and right, people that are depending on you from your audience, if that is what it is, and people that are above you, you know what I'm saying, that you have to connect with, so you could tap into their connection as a resource to help you do your thing. And we're talking about men with purpose that's trying to accomplish something, you know, on behalf of them, greater than themselves. We're not talking about somebody doing individual creation. Like with Antoine, he's the perfect example because he's an artist. He don't have to see our perspective. He can say, "Hey man, I got this deadline. I need to go complete it. See you in 4 months." You know what I'm saying? He probably need all of that time, whatever. But we can't feel some kind of way if his passion, you know what I'm saying, is more important than him being here and being present at this moment in time. Because if he can't give him his full attention to it, then you know what I'm saying, he's not gonna help over here too, you know. So sometimes you gotta let people go off and go do their thing, you know what I'm saying? Just like anybody that has a spirit for adventure, they have to go test it, that adrenaline junkie piece, right? So from the selfless service aspect of it, is that I can walk away from it and trust that the people that I brought in share my vision, and I'm never out of sync. You know what I'm saying? So I can hop in and out as I need to. It's like if you ever worked in corporate America somewhere, or been in part of some sort of corporate structure where you don't see the CEO, the president, or unless you work in a direct capacity, the person in the mailroom ain't gonna see, you know what I'm saying, who the CEO is all the time, you know. But does that CEO need to be at work for that philosophy of how that company's supposed to be ran for it not to be effective? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know why you come to work, you know what you're supposed to do, you know what the standards are. If that CEO sets the standards for whatever that operation is, you got to come in, you know, emulating the same spirit, at least faking it till you can make it, so you can actually understand how to maneuver the, you know what I'm saying, and read the room, right? So all of the things come back to better self-development, because you can learn. The only way you're going to learn is you submit. In general, you got to go to some place where you got to close your mouth so you can hear better, so you can understand the conversation and understand that it's not about you and your anecdotal experience. This is about, if I have the information, how do I give it without shaming people? And if I don't know the information, what's the credible source for me to go get it? The selfless service piece of it is that the person with the information has to have a commitment to standing up there and saying what they got to say, because they know they got to pour into somebody else's cup because they got the overflow. See, once you got the overflow, it get messy, and it's going to look greedy on you if you don't give it away. That's the whole point of it, because you're going to always get more, you know what I'm saying, from a positive aspect than you will a negative aspect. It's more sustainable on the side if you're doing the work. And when you do the work and you see the benefits of it, it makes you want to see that experience happen to somebody else. That's what selfless service really is.
Gentlemen, we got about 5 minutes, so thank you to everybody who joined in tonight. I appreciate you staying on with us for the extra few minutes or so. We're about to close out the show with the final thoughts, so like I said, appreciate everybody being here, and we are going to start with, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Antoine
I got first.
Merriweather. Y'all remember Antoine Merriweather? Antoine, you remember Antoine Merriweather? You don't? Hey, after the show, go and look him up. Coach know, because he started laughing.
Antoine Merriweather?
Yeah.
Okay. It just felt like it sounds Merriweather.
Look up Blaine Edwards and Antoine Merriweather.
Blaine Edwards.
Not right now, Antoine. After you
No, I'm just getting it down. Listen, I'm a little bit Man, at a certain time in your life, listen, you know who you are. After a certain age, man, you gotta stop trying to put all this. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. I'm still developing who I am. Get over it, man. At a certain point in your life, you know who you are, right? And once you know who you are, you know where you belong, you know where you fit in. And I think everybody needs to recognize that. And if you don't fit in a certain group, it's okay. And I think you need to be selfish with your time because you don't have much of it. It's your time. And you have to have good time management to achieve things in life. And you have to put your energy where it benefits you because you don't have much time to do it. And I think more people need to recognize that. I think people need to take what they have, take their experience, learn from it, move on. I think if you live in a positive environment, because you already experienced the negative, learn from the negative, live in your positive environment, and push forward. There's no time to waste anymore. And let me tell you, if you're still struggling at a certain age, get therapy because you ain't going to do it by yourself and ain't no YouTube video or anything going to help you. You need professional help because you should know yourself after a certain point, you know, and that's when you have to grab a pair and move on with it. That's all I have to say.
So I like to close out with accountable masculinity rule number 4. It's about legacy and equity and being selfless. You're supposed to live a life of service towards your community and others. You must be credible and capable of both mentoring and being mentored. You must be receptive and coachable. Being able to instill knowledge and wisdom into others is an act of submission and privilege. So you have to manage your connection to people. You are the gatekeeper to your own positive energy. Nobody can guard your triggers better than you can, and it's up to you to set yourself up for an opportunity to create, a better connection to a better understanding. Human beings fall into one of 3 categories. They create problems, solutions, and opportunities. So with that, when you think about what your actions, and if actions speak louder than words, what does it say when you do what you do? If you do it in a positive way, people should benefit from it, and it should feel empowering to help others find their way forward also. So just wanted to go ahead and close out with accountable masculinity rule number 4, and that's what we have from the accountable masculinity platform.
Men's energy and vitality, the importance of positive energy. I'm going to say that tonight was a very, very good night for me because I got to say a lot of things that I've always wanted to say to a group of men that I've always wanted to say it to. Positive energy is necessary, but you have to understand what that positive energy looks like for you and then figure it out and then learn how to embrace it. It's okay. It's going to feel weird if you have never felt it before, but it's cool. Deal with the weirdness because what's on the other side of that, you'll be glad you did. That's pretty much my final thought.
Energy is merely energy, depending on how you use it. Energy is a cycle, it's a current. And anytime anybody ever did any electrical changes in the house, you'll see you have a positive, a negative, and a grounding wire. You need people around you that can ground you because sometimes you can hear so much positivity, you can be high minded, or you can hear so much negativity that you can't lift yourself up. So get yourself a group of people that can hold you accountable because that's all energy does. That grounding wire holds you accountable because energy can be destructive. Too much energy in the wrong fashion can be destructive. That's why you need a grounding wire so that it won't just go any and everywhere and through people. But when it comes to men, we must always seek to be producers. You need energy to produce. You need energy no matter what you do. And it's not always about you being the happiest person in the room, but be productive minded with everything that you're doing.
First, I always got to say, rewind. You can hear all the wisdom that came before. I learned a lot from the Kings tonight. So my final thought, energy. I noticed that I feel like for me, energy is something that I can feel more so than something that I can see. So I try to be aware of what's going on around me. Another thought is 24/7. What actually can you do for 24/7? And one of the takeaways I get is that you can't really be positive 24/7 and be productive, and you can't be negative 24/7 and be productive. So, something that the brothers taught me is like kind of being able to either be in the middle or see things from different angles, which then brings me to boundaries. The boundaries protect you, but the boundaries, and they also protect other people, and they help you manage that energy. And it also helps you manage what you take in, which then brings me to limitations because we all have them. But being able to see things from many angles may shift how you show up and may shift how you define something as negative or positive. So I want to take a cue, from Coach and start saying this now. I value energy, and then, but the last thing that I think is cool, something that you can try to do 24/7. Because it's like you can't serve 24/7, just like you can't be waited on 24/7. But something I think we can all do 24/7 if we're, not competent, like smart, I'm saying like aware, is working to be present. And the more that you work to be present, then I think you can see how you feel. The more you work to be present, you can pay attention to the impact or the effect people are having on you. And then I'm going to borrow from Chris now how to be accountable to others and to yourself. So I just say, hey, work on this. I think that can help you connect with other people and be vital in a way that helps you and helps other people. And I thank the brothers for this evening. And like I said, rewind.
Hey, great conversation tonight. I want to start off by just simply saying this journey of life is a process of learning. And one of the most important things you got to learn is you have to learn yourself. You're constantly learning who you are because you don't know everything there's to know about you. That's why we have to go through, that's why we have to constantly self aware, have to become self aware. So even when it comes down to self awareness, I mentioned it earlier, that's one of the first stages that I have to go through so that I can actually understand not only who I am, but how I respond in certain situations. And I mentioned previously about personal competence and also talked about social competence. Go look at the two shows I did; they're phenomenal. The 5 keys to to increase personal competence, and the 5 keys to increase social competence. In conjunction with that, I like the fact that Dr. Easley brought up boundaries because he must have been reading my mind, because one of the things I was going to introduce to this conversation is boundary management. You have to learn to manage your boundaries given the certain season that you're in. I think Uncle Junior mentioned earlier how, he was giving a lot of energy away. Well, I have to manage my boundaries so I know when the floodgates are open and when I need to close it so I can recharge as well. I think that's important. And then we have to realize that everything, especially when we're talking about energy, everything that I want in life, good, bad, or indifferent, everything that I want in life comes through a channel. So what I have to do is elevate my character to the point of the thing that I say that I want, and then be humble enough to realize that whatever comes to me may not necessarily be for me. So the energy that comes to me is supposed to go through me. Blessings come to and through me to other people. And I think Zig Ziglar said it best. If if I help, I'm messing this up and I apologize. If I help many people get what they want, then eventually I get what I want. And I think that's the key to life.
Amen. So many great points tonight. Great final thoughts. I really appreciate all you gentlemen for being here tonight. I know we went over a little bit, but I appreciate you sticking in here. I appreciate the chat for being here. Everybody watching at home on all the different various platforms out there. Is we got a whole bunch of different networks. We got Innovative Consulting Solutions and Services over on Facebook. We got Men's Energy. I mean, we got we just got stuff all over the different place. So it's a whole bunch of, just look in the description at the below. You can find out all our information, find out, what we do in our personal lives, find out a little bit more about us, connect with us on different social media platforms. I know a lot of people up here got books, people got websites, people got businesses, people got artwork. There's a whole bunch of different things that we all up here doing. This is not to brag or boast or anything. It's like that. It's just to let you know that we have some services that we offer. So if you would like to rock with any of us or anything like that, feel free to look at the description and then reach out to us and everything like that. Like I said, everything that you guys need, Coach. If you have an opportunity, real quick before the show ends, drop those 2 links from those 2 shows. If not, then send them to me in the email, and then I'll add them into the description. So those 2 shows of yours that you talked about, people can find them and go back and watch them. Again, the Power and Perspective podcast this Friday night, 8 p.m. Unleashing Elevated Conversations this Saturday on Unkle Junior Network at 7 p.m. And all the other things. So whoever got anything going on, if I missed you, I apologize. Feel free to drop your information into the chat, the link, anything else like that. And ladies and gentlemen, we will be back here next time at the same place. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Elevated Dialogue. We are out. Have a good one. See y'all next week.